Hi Gemini, welcome to your mid-October 2020 Taroscope. Let's have a little look and see what we have going on for you. Now, Venus is moving into Libra, which is your 5th house. So this is a beautiful, creative, passionate, playful energy in terms of love, but also in terms of money. With the creative aspect at play, Gemini, you are being asked to really get very creative. Now, you felt it with the Libra energy, but it's been quite intense with the new moon being in your creative sector, being quite conflicted with the Mars energy in your 11th house. So you may have had a few disagreements with people. You may have had to make a distance from a group of people or friends or whatever it is. You've tried your best at something, and I feel like you're ready for a new start because you're quite frustrated at how things are going. Yes, 4 of Cups. You are really quite tired of the way things are turning out. So let's have a little look at your cards and see, as we lead up to a full moon in Taurus with a conjunction to Uranus, if this full moon is going to be a bit of a trick or treat for you. I will have a full moon video coming up that'll go more in depth to the full moon itself and what it means for each sign, but for now let's get a little peek at the energies for the second half of October and see what you need to know. King of Pentacles. A lot of Geminis watching this are business owners. 5 of Wands, 3 of Wands, the Magician, and the Knight of Pentacles, with clarifiers of the 2 of Swords and the Wheel of Fortune, and underneath the 8 of Wands. Okay. The second half of October heralds in with it a new energy, a new change, a shift that is really quite significant, and we can see it in your energy up here. Next year is gonna be quite lucky. Why? Because Jupiter's moving into fellow air sign Aquarius, and when Jupiter is in the same element as your sun, you can guarantee that you're going to be getting some positive vibrations sent your way, even if right now you just feel a little bit deflated. So you're recently, with I think the new moon in Libra, there was an opposition between Venus and Neptune in your respective 4th and 10th house. And when those two come into conflict, Gemini, you're either spending too much time at work or too much time at home, and there's a conflict between the two energies. It also shows you a blast from the past that is getting in the way of your future. Something may have repeated itself. But it's very clear astrologically, it's also very clear in terms of the cards, that there is a shift taking place. There is a change in the energy, and you may have felt it from the 16th of October, that things were just different. You sort of stepped into a new way of being. And if you didn't notice it right away, you will notice it in the 2 weeks that lead up to the full moon, because the full moon for you, when we see a full moon in the 12th house, it can often be a very emotional time. And obviously emotional to air signs is somewhat different to emotional with water signs. It's not that you're devoid of feeling, it's more that you have a way of looking at feelings that can really understand certain patterns very quickly, that can really understand, from an objective standpoint, but that doesn't mean that you always necessarily understand yourself so well. How deep do you go with you? When you're a Gemini, oftentimes it's not that deep. And I feel like for a lot of you, your character is under question. For some of you. For some of you, it is an annihilation of your character from an outside source. For others of you, it's internal. And the trouble with it being internal, Gemini, is that it's harder for you to see that. So really you're doing battle with something, be it external, be it internal, and you feel as though nothing can be done. But what's interesting is that there is that shift in energy, albeit quite slow, albeit not obvious. The tides are turning. The Knight of Pentacles, the Two of Swords, and the Wheel of Fortune. It has been a slow, steady journey for you wading through the Capricorn stellium over the last 3 years. It's been tricky because so much has occurred in a house in astrology that is oftentimes associated with darkness, but puts a lot of focus on your money in terms of attachments with other people, with your intimate life attached to other people. And there's a lot of secrecy in that. I think, Geminis can be really very private about their relationships, even if we have that a misconception that they're not. But in terms of any aspect of your life, Gemini, the Knight of Pentacles and the Two of Swords is clarity that things are moving slow, yes, but your mind is perceiving them as stagnant. They are actually moving. It's kind of like if you stare at a painting that has a person in the distance or has something in the distance, that if you stare at it for long enough, it actually looks like it's moving. And there's also that sense of the glitch in the matrix where you feel a little bit like there's been a time warp, a time hop, a movement, a shift, but it's jolting, it's confusing, and you think, oh, something changed here. That's what this is. When you notice a glitch, when you notice an error, it's not that things aren't working out, Gemini. It's actually that you're moving into a far superior terrain, emotionally speaking. And for some of you, in certain areas, you really feel like you've ran out of luck. Which wants to put the perspective back on you. You'll feel a real shift in Sagittarius season. One that feels a lot more harmonious, one that feels a lot more abundant, one that feels a lot more fruitful, and one that gives you a lot of help where you need it. Yeah. One where you're actually able to save money instead of put it into a bottomless pit. Or one where you actually are safe. In terms of an earth sign, their indecision may be annoying, but it's good to be careful. It's good to take that time. That's why so many Geminis oftentimes end up with earth signs, because they have that slower perspective. Both the 8 of Wands here and that 7 of Wands underneath. And the 10 of Cups underneath that. Remember what it is that you're fighting for. Remember what it is that you want. When Jupiter changes signs, it's really going to be quite exceptional. And there's a few ships coming in mid-October that you really need. Everyone seems to have gotten used to the slower pace, and it certainly comes out in the cards. But there's been a few false starts for Geminis, and a real need to get back to people. A journey and the Angel of Strength, a real need to travel, a real need to be with others, to be there for others, to connect to others, to begin again. And you feel like your beginnings have all been tainted with this confusion, and you almost feel a little bit like you're being tested. You're almost thinking that the universe is testing you. Do you really want this? But you could do with a bit of a rest and rejuvenation. You could do with a bit of a peaceful moment without the drama, and to just give in to a bit of a slower pace for now, because you need the rest, because in December things will start to pick up quite significantly. Okay. Have a wonderful mid-October, Gemini. See See you soon.